Hey, good evening, and welcome to Winning Wednesday. It's been like a minute since I've seen you all. Not really. It's not been a whole couple of minutes, just maybe a couple of weeks. It feels like it's been a long time. We've gone from April to May, and it's almost the middle of May. And you know what? In May, we celebrate Mother's Day. It's Mother's Day all year long in my mind, but May is when we universally recognize moms, and I think that's very cool. So welcome to Winning Wednesday. Those who are here, I'm delighted that you are. I wanted to, during this month of May and where we recognize moms, is to have a guest on who really gets it and gets it from the perspective of, you know what, it can be overwhelming. Life can be overwhelming, not just momming, but just being, living. Life can be lifing, and she's experienced that. And I'm so honored that she joined me tonight. She came by way of a recommendation from a good friend, dear friend, and soror. And so I want to get right into it. But thank you again for being here. I hope your summer's been great. It's starting to get to be summer, and holidays are starting, and graduations, and all kinds of things. So I hope life has been treating you well. And again, I welcome you here tonight to Winning Wednesday. So let me get into it. I want to introduce to you all Aerica Sanders. She's known as the Calm Mom Coach. And we're going to hear more about how that came to be. But calm, and that just makes me calm to think about that. The Calm Mom Coach. She's a wife, a mom, a business owner, an entrepreneur. She's had great experiences throughout her life. But she got to this place, and she's built a practice in helping people find the calm in their lives, especially when there's been some chaos. And we'll learn some more about her journey, and she'll give us some tips and approaches and strategies to help us be able to live a calm-filled life and to find that each day. But that she is committed to pouring her life into helping other people reach that. So I'm so honored that she's here tonight. And if you will help me give some love to Aerica Sanders, she is also one of my sorority sisters. And of course, we're members in Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. So help me as I bring in the lovely and the wonderful Aerica Sanders. Hey, Aerica, how are you?
I am doing wonderful. Thank you. And thank you for allowing me to share this space with you.
You're not allowing. I'm just happy you are here. It is so good to see you. And so I would love for you, because I want to honor and respect people's times, and especially yours, because you have a whole lot going on. So we're jumping right in. But I didn't really give you justice in terms of any type of intro. So tell us some more about yourself. Tell us a little about any of your background, anything you'd like us to know before we get into some real content related things. So what else would you like us to know about you?
So I am mom of three. I have an amazing husband, John Sanders, and I have been coaching full time for almost 4 years now. So I've been doing it full time. Prior to that, I kind of did it on the side.
Little side hustle was what you had going, huh?
Definitely. But if you ask my line sisters and if you ask all my close friends, I've been doing it all of my life. And so I went through many challenges in my life, and that's how I got here. I was able to overcome those challenges, and I started helping others little by little overcome their challenges, and it just morphed into a full-time business that changes, where I guide others to change their lives.
That is so cool, and I'm so glad to hear that. Just reference this, if you would, Aerica, prior to, because you said it's been full-time for the last 4 years. Was there any background in corporate or nonprofit or education prior to that? Would you share any of that with us? Because putting into context, you had a whole full life.
Full life.
Full life.
So right out of college, I was in education for a couple of years, and I realized that you need a special anointing on your life.
Wait, stop. But you said not just an anointing, but a whole
special anointing on your life. Not with the kids. It's with the administration and all the red tape, and in my opinion. Then I went into corporate America. I worked in oil and gas. And I was in land. And so I did that for almost 10 years. Then I became a travel agent because I love to travel.
She was jet setting out of town.
I was jet setting. I was all over the place, and God really just spoke to me, and that's how I got here. So I've had a lot of different things happen. and it's created me just for this role.
Okay, that's awesome. And I wanted you to give that background because you have done so many things, so many different experiences, and you
Yeah.
bring those things to bear as you're helping folks. Yet to be able to help, it sounds
Yes.
like you went through some things.
Yes.
And so let's get into it. You're the Calm Mom Coach. How did you arrive at that? What got you to that place?
So I called myself many different things as far as a coach.
Mm-hmm.
But as I was coaching clients, what I realized is that moms were struggling
Mm,
and moms were leaving a legacy of a rushed, unfulfilled, resentful, yelling, short tempered. And what ends up happening is, unfortunately, especially our daughters, they think that's the way life should be. We should always
mm,
go, go, go. We should always have this big to do list. We should never make time for ourselves. And so I really realized through coaching others that this was my purpose. So that
mm-hmm,
if I'm able to touch 60 lives this year, they have two kids. It impacts their kids and their children's children and their grandchildren and great
mm-hmm,
grandkids. And so I realized that I am guiding moms to change their family tree and
That's so
life
good.
as they know it. So
Mhm.
that's
That's good. And it's a trickle down. That's what is the visual that I'm getting. You impact a mom or some parents, and that transfers down to their children and their children's children. So it is some generational, I'll call it wealth transfer. My background is in investment, so I'm always thinking in that line, but this
yeah,
is wealth to be able to do that. So
yeah.
that's really cool. So you're telling us around or about this practice and how you're impacting lives, but what what got you to the place where it's like, I need to do this? So go back and talk about the janky. And I'm only calling it that because
Yes.
in your bios, and you have a very extensive one, and you said something in there you were talking to your therapist about, and I'm going to make this statement. I think I put it in the promo piece, but you didn't want to die, but you said you wanted to go into a coma,
Yes.
be in a coma, and then wake up at some point. So what was going on? Because we see the beautiful and the great and the, oh, she got to practice and she helped people and multiplying the numbers.
Yes.
What was going on to get you to the
Yes.
place where you would make a statement like that?
Here's the thing. I still had the pretty face on at that moment.
Oh,
You never
mm,
knew that this was going on behind the scenes unless you were really an integral part of my life. So
mhm,
about 15, 16 years ago, we had a business, and I forgot. See, my brain my brain went right over the business. We
uh-huh.
had an indoor inflatable birthday party place for kids.
Oh, the bouncies?
Bouncies, right. And it was a huge undertaking, 17,000 square feet. And I didn't mention it earlier, but I am a recovering perfectionist. I am type A. I am an overthinker. At that moment, my worth, WORTH, was associated with my work. And so everything had to be stellar and top notch and all of these things. And initially, it was amazing. I think our first full month, I don't know whether we brought in like 39,000 or 47,000. It was good.
Yeah.
My expenses were over the top. My lease graduated to $22,000 a month. Like it was, I couldn't sleep at night. We lost everything, Charlotte. We lost our home. We lost
Mm.
cars.
Oh.
My marriage was just in shambles. My granola was living with us at the time, and I told her I can't do the marriage anymore. As soon
Mm.
as I get back on my feet, I'm done.
Mm.
And
And
that,
can I just pause to
yeah,
ask you, because as folks are listening now and they're present and they'll listen later, would you say that the stress, the weight of carrying this business was the biggest factor in all of that? Would you attribute it to that?
100%.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to change others.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to look in the mirror and change myself.
Mm.
I wanted everyone else to change and be something that they weren't. And
Mm.
that was causing me so much pain. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's where my struggle was coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Not really being able to look at me for what was going on with me. And so I no longer went to church. And I grew up going to church. When we got married, we both grew up going to church. So we would go to church every Sunday. Stopped going to church. I disconnected. But guess what? If you saw me out, I'm going to have a smile on my face.
You doing that? You was looking fly, looking good, and you was bringing it.
Very few people knew that this was going on in my home. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to be a single mom. I have to figure life out. So I got a therapist. Shout out to our Sarah, Dr. Roselle Jenkins. I don't know if you know her, but she is fabulous. That is my therapist. She's not my therapist currently, but that's my therapist. And I recommend everyone to her. But that's what I was telling her. I just want to go in a coma. I want to wake up when this is all over. We owed over 6 figures to IRS. It was just a huge ordeal. I got help from Dr. Jenkins, got on some medication, eventually got a coach, and it saved my marriage, even though that was not my intent, because I started working on me.
Wow. So you wanted everybody else. It was an outward, everybody else needs to get together. Here's their thing. Here's their thing. We've got this business. It is pulling us, stretching us to the brim. Things are crumbling, falling down all around us. And until really reaching out, pulling into your life support by way of your therapist or therapist, and it sounds like some internal work, really looking inward. Yeah. So what was what was kind of the tipping point, or what was it that was said or happened that got you to that place where you could look inward versus outward?
I was at rock bottom. So when the therapist was suggesting things, I was like, I got to figure this out. Let me try this. And when my coach was suggesting things, okay, I got to try this. I read hundreds of books, just self-help books, trying to, how can I fix this? How can, well, improve, not fix. We're not broken. And I want everyone to know you are not broken. You can just improve.
Okay, I'm out. I said it to you before we started, and I'm going to say it right now. If you miss Bible study, not a problem, because we're going to get a word right here. Miss Aerica done dropped a word. We're not broken. No. So when we say things, so that's huge. It's our language. It's how we speak to ourselves in our situations. I'm not broken. I don't need to be fixed. I need to be what? Say that word again. It is making
improve. I need to be better tomorrow than I was today. That's it.
Good.
That's it.
I'm not broken.
I'm not broken. Yeah.
That's good. So you were getting insights and tips and things to help you improve.
Yes.
Better today than yesterday. And those were the things coming from your coach and your therapist that were helping you.
That is correct. And I started changing little by little, started losing weight. I started doing the things. And then I started helping others do the same. Like, okay, have you thought about this? Or maybe you need to do this. And that's how, and I will say this, I have always been that non-judgmental friend. I had an incident that happened in my teens, and I judged someone and I hurt them. And from that point on, I vowed I would be that non-judgmental person who would listen to both sides and tell you, okay, you're wrong on that one. I love you, but you're wrong. And so I've been that person. And I think that has also helped me in my coaching.
That's good. That's good. So you did a lot of work. Getting to rock bottom is what got you to a place of being more open. You talked about little steps. And just to go back, it's not to bury you, dig this ditch thing, but all this trauma, I'll call it that, all these challenges were manifesting in your life in what way? So challenges with marriage, a lot of financial stuff, but you talked about losing weight. So you were eating, you were eating.
Drinking.
Oh, girl, you are being so straight tonight.
Oh, I could hit a bottle of wine. And
say this is not a problem, huh?
Yes.
So it was showing up. That's what it was showing up. Even though the fun face, the happy face, the beautiful Aerica was presenting yourself to people. And was that causing conflict? Because what you were projecting was all is well. Yeah. I'm good, but there's chaos at home. There's crazy at home, and it's showing up because maybe I'm eating, snacking, and I'm enjoying some extra wine and different things. Did it manifest in other ways in your life? And I'm saying these things. It's not Aerica, you're being transparent, and thank you. But anybody who's listening now or later, if these are some things that are happening, like take note and listen. Yeah. So were other things being manifested?
I think I was more so the mean girl to myself.
Oh.
That's how it manifested. I was not kind to myself. The conversations I had in the dark were not what a loving person would say to another loving person. I would beat myself up continuously about the mistakes I made. I should have done this, and that goes to that perfectionist. I shouldn't have done this. Why didn't I catch this? Why did I do this? Why? And second guessing myself. So I think that's the way that it manifested the most, is what was going on internally.
And I call them, anybody who knows me, I call them the girls who live up here, or it could be the guys who live up here in
Yes.
between our ears.
Yes.
And I think they are there sometimes to really support us and help
Yes.
us. And they can be our worst critics, and
Yes.
we listen and we feed into that, and we have to put them on lock sometimes and
Yes.
shut that down. So
Yes.
you being you're beating up that self-talk, it wasn't affirming you and supporting you, but it was the other way, and you were feeding into that, it sounds like, as well.
And I tell my clients all the time, you have to talk to yourself more than you're listening. When it comes to the negative self-talk. Now, we need to listen to ourselves too, but when it comes to that self-talk, we got to talk to ourselves and override, in a sense, the programming that we've had most of our lives. Most people who have that negative self-talk, and the majority, women especially, we can be very hard on ourselves.
Okay, so here you are getting help, things are getting better. And you said this was 15 years ago. Did all of this transformation and this great stuff happen overnight?
Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, I tell clients all the time, I haven't arrived. I'm just 10 steps ahead of you. So by the time you get to where I am, I'm going to be 10 steps further, right? And so that's the beauty of it, because here's the thing. There are times when I'm the uncalm mom. If we just want to be honest.
Gonna be honest, girl.
When I'm all the way human, I remember.
Going to sip your water.
Yes, I'm sipping my water.
Sip that water.
I remember, I don't know whether it was Thanksgiving or Christmas. My husband is an amazing man. So let me just say that. Fabulous.
Shout out to Mr. Sanders. Shout out to Mr. Sanders. Yes.
And so he asked me what I needed help with, and I just named a couple of things. We had about 30 people coming over, and I hear him clip into the Peloton. It's an hour before people are coming. Everything's not done, and he's hopping on the bike. And I had a moment. I was like, I haven't showered. I haven't done my hair. And we have all these people. So I had an uncalm moment, but the difference between now and then is I'm able to quickly take a step back and reel it back in and be like, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was being all the way human. It's okay that you hopped on the Peloton. There was other things that I wanted help with, but I should have communicated that. So I still have moments. So I'm saying that to say it's definitely not an overnight process. I am still a work in progress, 100%.
And I so love your transparency. Our soror Dora Bragsbird is here, and she's saying you are always transparent. And I appreciate that, because you're not trying to project, hey, I've arrived. And it's a journey for all of us. So you're on the journey as well. And that's a good thing. And you can relate. I take it in that way. You can relate when you're working with somebody and they're saying, I had a human moment.
Yes.
But yeah, I get that. And that happens with all of us. You're able to support us with that. So give us these tips as the calm mom. And I want you to be the calm person coach, because it's not just moms, I imagine, but that's where you really have that great connection. What are some things? Give us, I'm a believer in threes, the power of threes, like 3 blind mice, 3 little pigs. Threes are easy to hang on to retain. I'm looking for you to share with us just 3 key things every single one of us can do to help us find calm when there's chaos all around us. It may not be like what you described, but whatever it is right now, I don't want anybody thinking, oh, it's not that major. Whatever it is, if it's chaotic,
Yes.
causing you trouble? What can you share with us to help us live a calm life or live calm in that
Yeah.
space?
So I think that's important that you said it doesn't matter what you're going through because it's big to you in that moment, right? And we have to be careful not to dismiss and say, oh, this person over here is struggling with her husband and infidelity, and I'm complaining because my husband won't pick up his socks, right? In that moment, as far as your life is concerned, him doing things around the house are big. So I agree, 100% agree. It doesn't have to be as major as the things that I've gone through. I would say the first thing is to really focus on self care and self love. And when I say self care, it sounds cliche, but I'm not talking about the manis and the petties and the girls' night out. That is amazing things. Don't get me wrong. But I'm talking about the way you talk to yourself. I'm talking about
Mm,
boundaries and learning to say no to things that you don't
hmm
want to do, honoring
hmm
what you want and what you don't want to do. And this is the thing,
hmm
when clients come to me and they're saying, I don't feel heard, no one listens to me, or I'm not appreciated, the first thing I ask them is there any way that you don't listen to yourself? Is there
Oh, hang on, hang on, hang on, hang on. You know, people just like seriously. That's so deep. Nobody's hearing. How am I doing that for myself? Am I listening to myself? Am I honoring myself? Am I doing that first for me? Is what I hear you saying. It starts right here.
starts right here. And this
Ooh.
is the thing. You can't fill that void from an external source.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm.
so you might say, I want to feel love. I don't feel he loves me. I don't feel this. And I'm willing to bet that you struggle with loving yourself because
Mm.
when you meet a need yourself, you're less likely to harp that that need needs to be met, if that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. So if
Yeah.
I'm loving myself wholly and completely, you loving me is important, right? I don't want, but it's not vital because I'm
Right.
already filling my own cup, right?
It's not going to make you make or break you because I'm already good. I love me. And if you do, that's icing on the cake. That's a good thing.
No
Like, good
kidding.
for you. Nice for me, but I'm already. That is so good. That is so good. So, this first point you're making around how to bring calm into our lives, it
Yes,
starts with us, is what I hear you saying. And
yes,
it's when you say self care, self love, it is more than again, what's great, going to the spa, hanging out, brunching with your girls, looking
yes,
cute and fly, or the guys are going
yes,
golfing. It is how you talk to yourself, how you love yourself, the
yes.
language that you use with yourself. Am I correct in
That
what I hear
is
you saying?
100% correct.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the thing. I see someone saying the big one is saying no. If you create boundaries, but you don't enforce the boundaries, it just makes you a liar.
Oh, you so right on the nail with a bunch of stuff here. Somebody just makes you a liar. Did you just say that, Eric?
It does.
It does. It's so real. And back to what my friend Dolores is saying about the big one is saying no.
Yeah.
I've struggled with that.
Yeah.
You want to make everybody feel good. You don't want conflict. All those kinds of things. Studying behavioral style work and kind of a guardian personality. Don't want to rock the boat. And then I'm just the one who's stressed out
Yes.
and a lot of chaos going on because I've said yes to so many things. So
Yes.
saying no, I'm learning this to say no, thank you.
Yes.
And
Yes.
people go, what are you talking about? I just, no, thank you.
Another thing for those who have a problem saying no, say, let me think about it.
Ooh.
Because if you say, let me think about it, that gives you a chance. Let me get back to you. That gives you a chance to formulate your no, right?
Mhm.
For those who aren't strong in their no's, that way they can send that cute little no, thank you. texts or oh, I wish I could. If I had been given more notice, I'd be able to do it, right? And so I
Yeah.
think that's important too. And
That's good.
yeah,
So I want to amplify. So what we've heard is in that first, and you're giving us three key things
yeah,
to find calm, to create calm, to be calm, even when there's chaos. The self-love looks like a few things. It is
oh,
how we speak to ourselves. It's us loving ourselves. It is establishing boundaries. It's being able to say no and be okay with that. Without, I'm going to add that there's no judgment with that. There's no second guessing or explanation, because
yes,
I've gone through that. If I say no, I got to tell them why. Well, see, I can't because, and just no.
yes,
No
yes.
is a complete sentence. So that's a good one. Hmm.
And I have a quick, this happened with my daughter about 2 years ago. This is the problem. We have a lot of self-induced to-dos on our list, and then we resent others because we did it to ourselves. So my daughter was staying with my sister in Bel Air, helping out with the newborn. She had practice. Well, the rule was you let me know about practice schedule on Sunday. She did not. She told me
Oh,
last minute. So I opted and I said, hey, I can't do it. I could have made it happen. But this is what would have happened, Charlotte. I would have been upset with her, short with her as I'm
yep,
driving an hour there and an hour back
right.
because she told me last minute. Now I'm agreeing to this, but I'll be short
Mhm.
with her. That's number one. Number two, I tell myself, see, I'm always doing it all because this was the old me. I have to do it all. My husband's not doing this.
Mm.
Yeah. So I'm
Yeah,
resentful towards him for something that I said yes to.
yeah.
And sometimes our to-do list and saying yes not only brings resentment, but it's self-induced, and you have to remember that. So yeah.
Ooh, you just, I'm telling you, Bible study right here. So with the self-induced thing, so by saying, I'm not going to be able to do that, here's the agreement. That's a boundary. And the boundaries help keep us safe. I learned about boundaries much later than I wish I had.
Yes.
They help us.
Yes.
And sometimes we don't know, here's what I've learned, we don't know what those boundaries are initially, and then until we run into a thing or a
Yes.
situation, and then we're able to say, this right here doesn't work. And should this happen again, or this is what goes on, I don't get
Yes.
the notification in time, I'm not going to be able to do
Yes.
that, or I'm going to do XYZ. So
Yes.
the boundaries are huge, and I thank you for amplifying that.
Yes.
So that whole, now here's what we've heard, and thank you, Yolanda, saying we're getting some nuggets, some good nuggets tonight.
Thank you,
Absolutely. So
Yolanda.
in the space of these three areas that can help us live a calm-filled life, or experience calm, or choose calm when there's chaos. The first is our our wellness, our self-love, and it
Yes.
encompasses boundaries, being able to say no, and our self-talk. So
Yes.
what's that second thing?
Second thing
Category?
is going to be stop trying to control and change others because it's only bringing you pain. If you allow people to be who they are, now keep the boundaries in place. I'm not talking about deal breakers, right? So I'm not saying you allow people to run all over you, but this is the thing we can't control. We can't control a 2-year-old. And we can't control a 19-year-old, a hormonal teen. We can't control I have adult kids too. I can't control them. And a lot of times they do things that I deem are asinine, for lack of a better term. But this is the thing, they're not me. I have to
Yeah.
accept that this is who they are. And a lot of times I think they're making a mistake, but they don't actually think they're making a mistake. So I have to release myself to create calm. I have to understand I can't change anyone. I can barely change myself, right?
Mm,
It's enough for me to just work on me, let alone
right.
trying to change. And this is the problem with trying to change other people. You damage the relationship and you create
Mhm.
disconnection. And so the
Mm.
next time you're struggling with this and you want to tell someone how they should live their life or what they should be doing or what they did wrong, or you want them to behave as you would behave, I want you to ask yourself, is this bringing us closer together? Is
Mm,
this
mhm.
so important to me that I'm willing to risk this relationship or further damage this relationship?
That's good. So this thing about changing other people, and so I liken that to, it's about acceptance. So
Yes.
some things are, so I accept that this is this person's way of behaving or being or thinking or acting. I may not agree with it, but the energy I put into trying to shift or change their thinking, their behaviors, their actions, is that bringing chaos to me? And if I want calm, I
Yes.
hear you say, don't worry about trying to change them. Let them be them.
Yes.
Manage me. I used to say we called it super church at our church, children's church. It was a children's church teacher. And I tell you, I learned this lesson. Those kids would say, Sister Charlotte, he's looking at me. I go, that's why he has eyes. And they'd say, Sister Charlotte, he touched my chair. And I go, that's what happens when a lot of kids are in a room, the chairs touch. And they just would do it. And I finally said, how about you manage you?
Yeah.
Just you manage you.
Yeah.
And so I'm being a little bit silly, but I'm
Yes.
totally with that. That's what I hear you saying.
Yes.
Just manage yourself. We
Manage
cannot
yourself.
change
Yes.
people. Little people, more, teenage, young adult people, and certainly old grown folks. We
Yes, we can.
can't change them.
And then get curious as to why I want to change them.
Ooh, talk
Get
about
really
that.
curious. Get really curious. Why do I want them to behave like this? Do I want them to behave like this because I'm comparing their life to my friends' 19-year-olds and what they're doing? So get really, really curious on what is the reason behind wanting them to do this career or wanting them to make this decision.
That's deep. So that's a great added piece. So I hear the second tip strategy that you're giving us to create and live a calm filled life. We can't change people, and explore internally, what is it that's driving or motivating us to want to change them? What's behind that? That's deep.
Yes.
Yeah, explore that. So that's good. So how about this third area that we can do? Because I'm all about practical things as well.
Yes.
We leave here tonight, what can people immediately start doing? And as the Calm Mom coach, Calm Parent, Calm Adult coach, giving us some good stuff. So what's that third umbrella kind of area?
So the third umbrella piece kind of goes, you mentioned it, accept the facts as the facts. A lot of times we think our thoughts are facts. And so we will make statements that are just a thought, but we 100% believe them. I had a client and she said, my husband never does anything to completion. And I was like, oh, never? Not once? And she's like, no, I can't. And she paused and she said, I can't think of anything. And I said, okay. I said, well, that's your homework. I said, for the next 7 days, when we see each other again, I want you to see if there's anything he does to completion. And she came back and she said 100%. She had about 8 or 9 things. And I said, very interesting. You thought that your thoughts were facts, and they're not. And so you have to accept what's a fact, and you have to understand the difference between a fact and your thoughts, because it will mess you up every time. My child doesn't love me. My child forgot my birthday. It's not that your child doesn't love you. It's that he forgot your birthday. He forgot your birthday. And so that feels so much better. He forgot my birthday as opposed to my son doesn't love me. And so really watching our language, it goes to self. All of this, if you really look at it, Charlotte, it's all about you. And how you deal with others, not what they're doing to you.
That is a whole conversation right there. What we believe and we put forward as fact isn't necessarily the case, probably the majority of the time. And I think about the statement you just made. Okay, your son, child, whomever, somebody, even a friend or your spouse, forgot, just straight up forgot. But we take it and translate it into a whole bigger thing. And then that's the girls upstairs telling us, see, I told you.
Yes.
And that's not the case at all. But if we distill it down, what I hear you saying is, bring it down to what it is. The fact is he or she forgot.
Yeah. And so what we're doing is we're making a hard life harder.
Aerica, we're not ready for you tonight. Did you hear what she said? We're making a hard life harder
Yeah.
by doing those kinds of things. That's what you mean.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And so I always ask clients, oh, okay, can we take that to a court of law?
Would it
And
stand up? Would there be evidence?
would there
Yeah.
be evidence?
Mhm.
Would everyone in the world agree that your son doesn't love you? And typically the answer is no.
So coach us on then the way to be able to do that, because we're bombarded with lots of thoughts. I do a lot of executive coaching and training, and some statistics I'll share oftentimes is 11 million pieces of information are hitting our brains, bombarding us. Not every day, like every second, 11 million pieces. We can only process about 40 pieces of all of that stuff. And that's a lot every second.
Yes.
So, we're taking the things that we think are true, these things that we're saying or listening to the people up here, and making those fact when they're not. So the exercise that you would give us to make sure that we are not taking as fact the things that probably are not, is it like what you told your client, go and think about it, but what if we don't have time to? What can we do?
So this is what I want you to do. I want you to first be aware. It's only when you're feeling triggered. Does that make sense? You
Yes.
don't need my help for the good moments.
Right.
You got that. It's only those moments when you're feeling triggered. I still go back to curiosity and awareness and becoming the observer. So when you're being triggered by a thought or a fact that you think is something that you think is a fact, ask yourself, is this a fact? Is there any way that the opposite is true?
Could be true. Yeah.
And is there evidence that the opposite is true? So let's take my son doesn't love me, right?
Yeah, that's good.
Is there any evidence where my son, do I have any evidence that he shows me he does love me?
Like you told your client, the lady, go back, and she says he never completes anything. Just go back and look. And she came back and he does.
Yeah. And then get curious. Why do I feel like he doesn't love me? Why am I feeling like that? Is that helping my connection with him? No, it's not. Right. And I think the thing about it, sometimes we don't want to ask the difficult questions. We don't want to tell people what we want. We want them to be mind readers. And that's a problem.
It's a problem because it doesn't work, right?
It does not work.
Do that. Yes.
And I hear all the time, well, they should know they need to call me. They should know that. Should they? They have their own life. And we have to understand, ask for what you want. And this is the thing, but don't be attached to the results if you don't get it.
Talk about that. What do you mean? So ask for what you want, but don't be attached to the results.
Remember, we can't change others.
Right.
And so if I say, hey, this is what I need, this is what I want from you, I want you to call me on my birthday every year. Because that's how I feel loved, right? It could be that he gets so busy, he forgets. We have to give him space to where if he doesn't do every single thing we want, we still have love and acceptance and peace. And there's a compromise there, because it's honestly, one year I forgot my dad's birthday. I had so much going on in my brain. I love my dad with all my heart. He was the first man I've ever loved. I remember sleeping on his chest, right? Like, amazing relationship with my dad. I 100% loved him, but I forgot his birthday.
Yeah.
And so you have to look at your life and say, are there some times when I drop the ball? Can I forgive this person? And can I allow him to be a person who shows me love 364 days of the year, and he just may not call me, and that's okay.
So that's what you mean. Don't be so married to the outcome, the desired outcome that you have, that then that becomes a thing. And I think that goes back to the very first tip that you gave us about our self-love. I'm good. He forgot. period. Because 364 days, he's giving, he's doing, he's loving, he's showing up, he's making it happen. And here was, and even if it wasn't a forget, it was, who knows, but
Yes.
I love myself enough to be like, that's okay. And giving, when you say space, I think about it. Another friend, Dr. Gina Durkin, says, give yourself some grace, girl. Give other people some grace.
Yes.
And space to just be human, like you've talked to us,
100%.
having those human moments.
Yes.
That's really, really good.
Yes.
Okay, so we've heard good things from you. I'll ask you this, and we're over time, and I want to honor and respect that. Just any final kind of parting thing, encouragement that you would give to somebody, maybe somebody who, like you, they haven't mouthed it or articulated it, but they're thinking, I wish I could just be in a coma for a minute until all this passes. What might you say to that person who's listening now or may tune in later on down the road?
I would say to them, you're going to look back and you're going to be stronger because of what you're going through right now. And I know it doesn't seem like it, but there is something about going through something and coming out on the other side. I can now build a successful business because of the failure that I had 15 years ago. There's so many life lessons that I learned through that. And if I take time and what is this teaching me? And sometimes you can't. I don't live in a land of toxic positivity, and I don't want you to do that either. Everything is not rainbows and sunshine. It is hard sometimes, but get some help. Get a therapist. If you've gotten a therapist, get a coach. If surround yourself with people who have gone through what you've gone through and made it through. That's what I would say.
That's so good. That's so good. And I love how you've talked earlier about get a therapist, get a coach. And I want to ask you, somebody may be on going, I need exactly what it is you provide and calm in my life. And so how can we connect with you? What's the way that people, you're on Instagram, you're other places. Where can we find you, Aerica?
So you can find me. My name is spelled a little different. It's Aerica. But my website is aericasanders.com. You can find me on Instagram, Aerica Sanders. You can find me on Facebook, Aerica Sanders. So everything is Aerica Sanders. You can also type in the Calm Mom Coach, and that will bring you into my website too. So that is how you get in touch with me. So.
Awesome sauce. And what I love about tonight, we've got the full gamut on here. My mom, my 84-year-old mom is on checking us out.
Mom.
Other moms, Elizabeth Ayers, she's a mom. I mean, so we've got the full gamut. And you're so on point with all that you've given us. I so love and appreciate your transparency. I love when you say, ask ourselves the questions, like be the inspector where we want to probe more. One of my therapists said to me once, because I was like, I have all these questions. She said, well, answer the questions. And that was so profound for me.
Yes.
She said, we'll answer them. Sit with yourself. And you said it, Aerica, it may not be comfortable all the time. It's not easy all the time. And going through life, there's a quote by, who said it? Oh, I know I don't have it right. I want to say Winston Churchill. Somebody said, if you're going through hell, keep going.
Yes. Yes.
And the point is, don't stop.
Don't stop.
Don't stop in the middle of all that chaos and hell. Think about the things that Aerica has said tonight. Yes. So listen, if she has helped you all, if she has given you anything to think about tonight and encourage you, will you show her some love in the chats, in the comments, so when Aerica goes back and looks at it, she's able to. And truly, that's what I do. Each time that we come on, I have prayer. And we prayed tonight before we got on, didn't we, Aerica? And I do that with every single person because I believe that what we're doing here is something that can change lives. So please let her know that you've appreciated her time and her sacrifice. And thank you, Aerica. I love you. I appreciate you, Dora. Thank you for saying you need to get Aerica on your thing. And so we made it happen. And thank you for your flexibility and your willingness.
So, thank you, Dora. So it's all because of you I'm here. So
and so we're going to say goodnight now. Hang on as I wrap up tonight. But thank you so much for Aerica for being here. I'll be in touch with you. Thank you. Appreciate you greatly. So good night. Get rest. Have an amazing day tomorrow. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for showing Aerica love. I appreciate you. Winning Wednesday. I've got a little different setup tonight than I normally do, but we just take it on the road and we just do what we need to do. So thank you all. This month, Mother's Day or Mother's Month is what I'm calling it. So I'll be coming back in a couple of weeks because my goal and my consistency with my crazy life is trying to be here every couple of weeks. So look for us in a couple of weeks. Got some other cool stuff lined up for you and some other topics. We're going to circle back to our relationship folks. We're talking to a good friend, Demetria, who said to me, you know what? There's life after divorce. Let's talk about that. So we absolutely will. And stay tuned. Thank you for your support. Here's the only thing I ever ask, and I forgot to ask it today. When you pop in, just share what we're doing here. Just go ahead and share it to your page so others can take it in. Thank you so much. Remember, the goal is to win without perfection or permission. Every single aspect of our lives. That's our goal. We'll see you next time. Take care and have a great, amazing evening and the rest of the week. Okay? Take care. Good night.